Welcome back, everybody. Very excited about this week. We are going to talk about going after your dreams. I think it's a very topical subject because all of us at one point in time listening to this podcast, you, the viewers and the listeners that are listening to the Mining Coach podcast, you do have big dreams and big goals. And I know that you know that we go after them, and when we go after them we also learn a lot. And today we're going to talk about going after your dreams. We're going to be quite practical about that. So maybe just a question to you: what are your dreams? How big are they? Are they bigger than you? Do you need some help with them? Yes, I know you may have more than one, as do a lot of us have. Maybe you don't have a dream. Maybe you just have goals. What's the difference between the two? Are they the same? No, they're not the same. A dream is more like a vision, and goals are like milestones along your journey in achieving your dreams. And today we're going to talk about quite a number of issues on the subject. So let's talk about what are we going to cover today. We're going to talk about what is your why for your dream. We're going to talk about visualization. We're going to talk about writing it down, the power of writing it down, and setting milestones along the way. How do you bring your inner circle into that conversation? Then how do you deal with setbacks, and how do you celebrate milestones? And then finally, once you've achieved it, what's the next step? What's part 2 of this dream process? All right. So when we start with a big dream, a why is a very important the question that we need to ask ourselves. If your why has got a lot of reasons, the chances of you achieving your dreams or your dreams are a lot better. The probability is a lot higher because you have a number of reasons. If you've just got one reason, it's not bad, but you may want to have more than one reason why you're going after this dream. Maybe that dream is to get a qualification. I'll talk about my very first time that I had a dream from a young secondary high school child or learner that I wanted to become an engineer, and that was my dream. I just wanted to become an engineer. And in my case, I was going to be the first one in our family to actually get a university or college education. And that was quite big for me. And my dad never even finished high school, and we came from a poor family. So for me, my dream and my why for my dream was to create a better life for myself and my offspring than what my father could have provided for us. So what's your why? What is your why? Today, I have a number of other dreams, and I'm going after them quite aggressively. And we do develop new dreams and new visions about our future. And it's very important to understand your why behind it. And if you can be clear about that why, it really helps to drive you when things are going tough, because there will be setbacks, and we're going to talk about setbacks as the 6th point. But I do want to share with you, when we move to point number 2 of visualizing your dream, the power of visualization and how important that is. So I spoke about one of my first dreams was to become an engineer. And I recall in our first year, a lecturer that lectured us on mine management principles she, in the classroom, asked us to close our eyes and to visualize whatever we wanted to in terms of achieving this qualification. What does it look like when you have achieved it, when you've graduated, and what is the big vision, the dream that you can see? Now, Tony Robbins has quite interesting tools that he teaches you to activate your spirit person, your mind, your thoughts, and also your body, bringing your body in a good state of being able to visualize. And you may want to consider going to a quiet place, maybe sit, in nature, maybe at a beach, maybe at a river, maybe just in the wild. Maybe that means just a quiet room for you to be in solitude, but really position your body in a space where you can be creative, where your spirit person is calm and is actually tuned in with your heart and your thoughts so that you can actually visualize what this dream looks like. And the power of visualization is quite incredible. In my case, I visualized two things. I visualized, in terms of becoming an engineer, I could see myself walking up the stage to get my diploma, and I could see the professor, whoever that is, that tapped me on the shoulder and handed me my qualification. And I visualized how I walked off that stage. I also visualized that at that stage I was already married, and I visualized a double-story house where my children were playing in front of the house on a piece of land that was green and luscious. And I saw our family being happy and together, and I could visualize that. I could see that. And that was a very powerful way to remind me whenever the tough was getting going along this journey that I could hold on to that vision and that dream, and I could see myself achieving that. I could see that it actually happened. And funny enough, within 10 years after that day that I visualized that, we were staying in a double-story house that was our own, and it was a green lawn in front of the house, and I did kick the rugby ball with my son on that piece of land, and we were playing, and we were having lots of fun. And it was actually quite special when we actually looked back at it. I actually didn't realize at the time this was actually a realization of the dream. It's only afterwards that I realized, oh, wow, I actually visualized this one day many years ago. So the power of visualization is incredible, and I really want to urge you to make use of that for yourself and visualizing what that end state means to you, and what will it look like in the physical realm when you've achieved that. Right, the next one, the third point about going after your dream is actually writing it down. I currently have a book, a journal. I'm very fond of them nowadays. I've actually just last week I bought three empty ones because I'm quickly filling them up. And in my journal, and I have it here in front of me, but in my journal, maybe that's not so clear for you, but I do write down my dreams, and I've got a vision statement for this year, and I have it added for last year. I refined it a bit for this year, and it's a short, medium, and a long-term vision statement, a dream statement that I've penned down, and it's quite specific. And there is something that is very powerful when you do write your dreams down, and what you want to achieve and the timelines when you want to achieve it by, and what actions are you going to take along the journey that you are committing to. And there's a creative process when one writes and one puts a hand to a pen and write it on a piece of paper. And I've mentioned before, I love using a 4-colored pen that's got access to 4 different colors, and I'm quite creative on every page as I'm writing my goals and my dreams down. And it does help. There is something that happens in the creative process that makes it just initiates, it brings into life what you are going after. All right, the fourth one for today is setting milestones along the way. And that's really where the difference between what is a dream and what is a goal comes in. And along your vision of achieving that dream, you're going to have some milestones. You must put some milestones down, goals that will enable the bigger picture. So I remember my daughter had a dream of doing a BCom marketing degree, and in that process she had to redo her mathematics, and she didn't have the right level of mathematics for the entry to that qualification of a very prestigious university. And she sacrificed quite a bit to actually achieve that by redoing her maths. And that was a goal along the way for her. And so we have different things that we want to achieve. And it's important to write those down. What are the things that you need to achieve along the way, that you need to get better at for you to achieve that vision, that dream that you've set yourself, You also would maybe want to ask yourself, if I'm going to achieve this, one of my goals may be to say, what am I willing to sacrifice? Excuse me. Excuse me. To sacrifice is paying the price for this dream of yours. And sometimes you have to be willing to sacrifice something. If we don't change something in our lives, we cannot expect a change. And if we want to go after a goal, and there's a specific goal, and one of those goals is maybe to, lose weight, well, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice sitting in front of the telly and having a packet of crisps or whatever you enjoy having when you're watching a movie? But you have to be willing to sacrifice and give up something. When we as a group, a team, did our Masters in Business, we got the families together and we realized we were going to sacrifice quite a bit. And we had a conversation with our inner circle, and we realized that social life and the way we were spending our time was going to be different going forward. And we were willing to sacrifice that for a period of 3 years. Which brings me to the fifth point of discussing your dreams and your goals with your inner circle. And I want to caution you that sometimes our inner circle, we must choose, all the time, your inner circle, you must choose very carefully. You may end up sharing a very intimate goal and an intimate vision of yourself with somebody that should not be in your inner circle, and they will immediately downplay your dreams, because some people just don't understand that this is a big dream, and they say, man, you're absolutely nuts. How can you actually think that you're going to ever achieve this? But if you've got the right inner circle, it is great to share those dreams with them. And they become wonderful soundboards to affirm what you are going after and say, yes, you can do it. They will motivate you. They will cheer for you along the way. They will also help you to not give up when the tough gets going. I remember with my masters in business, I really struggled to finish my dissertation, and for me, it's also a weakness in terms of finishing stuff. I've finished all the coursework. I already applied the principles in my career. I could see the benefit. I had the promotions. Things were going well. And my wife, my partner of many, many years, she said to me, "Look, I really think you should finish this. We didn't sacrifice this as a family for you not to have that piece of paper that can that can be shown on the wall." And I ended up finishing it off, and she was really inspirational and helped me along the way to finish it eventually, which I don't think I would have, finished that dissertation, because for me, it was what I learned, and the process helped me to become a better leader and a business person, and I was happy with what I got out of it. And for me, the piece of paper was simply that, a piece of paper, but she had the knowledge and the know-how and the push to get me through and say, no, look, it's still a qualification that you now have, and you've paid for it. You've done all the sacrifice. Just finish the dissertation. And after the third attempt, I did. But my inner circle really helped me. And even today, as we are on this journey of doing life together, my wife is a wonderful sounding board. I've also got I've got at least 2 friends of mine that are super close to me that I can share anything with and everything in my life. And they help me along the way. And I can, when I need help, and when I need to check with them whether I'm unrealistic or whether I'm missing something, they are there to help me. And I think it's extremely powerful to have an inner circle that you can share your dreams and your goals with, and they can help you bring perspective when you need to have that. All right, which brings us to the 6th point. Today we've got more than the normal 5 or 3 or 4. Dealing with setbacks. You will have setbacks. It's not gonna be plain sailing. Going after big dreams, big visions, and big goals is not easy, and there will be setbacks. You will at times doubt yourself. You will fall flat in your face. You will be in the arena fighting, and you have to get up and dust yourself off, and that's what successful people do. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from the setbacks, and we move forward. And one funny story that I share about my own life is that I was extremely cocky, arrogant, conceited when I was preparing for my mine manager certificate of competency. I had to finish the law part, and the production manager at the mine at the time, and I was a mine overseer. I was a shift boss, and he said, if you get your mine manager certificate, you will be promoted to a D1 level. So what doesn't really matter what D1 is. It's just I will be promoted and get a car allowance. And I really put in a lot of effort in preparing for the law exam. And a day before the exam, like halfway through the morning, I was like done. I finished preparing. I was ready for it. I had, I was really well prepared. And I went to a local car dealership and I test drove the new car that I had in mind to buy. Talk about confidence. And the next day, my wife she went with me to a big city, and we wrote the exam. It was a 3-hour paper, and as I was writing this, I realized, geez, I'm not going to make it. This paper is beyond me. I'm definitely going to fail. And I had to deal with that setback. And because that exam only happens every 6 months, so, you didn't get the car. You didn't get the car allowance. And I had an old rusty little vehicle that, it was due. It was very much due for a new car. And that was a setback. But I just learned from that. And and then 6 months later, went up again for the exam and passed it the second time round. But you will have setbacks, and you're gonna have to deal with it. I was so depressed with walking out of that exam venue, meeting my wife in the parking lot. It was like, man, this was like one of my most depressing moments in my life. I was so confident. I put in the hours. I really did my part. I did whatever I could do to prepare well, and it didn't work. It just didn't pan out, and that was it. So be prepared for setbacks and know that everybody goes through that, and you're no different than anybody else. Then, second last, number 7 is celebrating your milestones. I'm talking about goals along the way. It's absolutely important to celebrate those. When you go after big dreams and you have these little milestones along the way, celebrate them. We are currently busy building a different business, which is not mining, and it's in the retail sector, and we are developing a product at the moment, and the product is finalized already. We're in the final testing phase, and when it was delivered to us, both me and my partner, we were so excited about this product because a lot of effort has gone into it, a lot of science, a lot of testing, and we were super impressed with it. And it's still under the final testing stage. But I tell you, when that was delivered, and in 2 different countries, and we could have a look at the product and unpack it and unbox it and go through it, and because it was just phenomenal. And we are probably 5 months away from launching it, but these little milestones along the way, you need to celebrate it, because there's this big dream, but celebrate your milestones, celebrate what you've achieved along the way. And that's all I can leave you with is, do have some grace with yourself. All right, finally, it's the last one. When you've reached it, when that dream has been, the tick mark is there, I've done it. What's next? Prepare for different phases of your life, where there's sometimes people go through depression after actually achieving it. And it's more of a lot of people just don't get joy when they finally achieve it, because it's been sort of an anticlimax. You see that with people doing major sport events, like if you train for a ultra distance event, and it's months of preparation and wrecking your body to actually achieve it. And when they've done it, people go into a depression because they've, their purpose of getting up every day and doing something is suddenly they've achieved it. Now what? And it's very helpful if your dream is bigger than you, and it's about making the world a better place and adding value to people. And do be aware of it, that it's great to have a dream, but if your why, as I started off with, is there are more than one reason, or there is more than one reason that your why is there. You've got a number of reasons for this why, for this dream. It really helps to keep you focused, but also that your dream is a process of making the world a better place. And then you don't have that sort of depression when you've finally achieved it. And if your dream can somehow integrate with the world to make it a better place, then you will find that you will go into a next phase and another phase and another phase and another season where you just keep on dreaming and you keep on developing more things, more dreams and more value add to the world. And that's the nature of being human, is we progressively get better. If you are focused, if you're one of the people that are listening to this podcast, which you are, you will keep on improving. You will never stagnate. You will keep on learning. You will keep on being a better human. And you will get better at your job. You will get better in your profession. You'll get better in your business. And make sure when you've achieved a big dream that your why is big enough. And that's all I can leave you with. So to recap, I think for me, some of the major points in this dream and living a dream and going after it is, for me, what stands out of these 8 points that we've discussed today is, number one is to really understand your why. And if your why can make the world a better place, that's a great reason to go after it. I think equally important is putting action to it with milestones. It's no use. We have these wonderful dreams, and a lot of people just never end up chasing it because they don't put action and milestones along the way that they chase to get there. The climbing of a mountain begins with one step, and eventually you get up the mountain. But you have to start taking that first step. And then I do subscribe to the fact that you will have setbacks and you need to be prepared for that. It's unrealistic to think that everything will be plain sailing and it's going to be just that easy. If it's worth your while chasing it, it's going to actually be also hard enough that there will be setbacks as well. And you will have to prepare for that, but have the tenacity and the discipline and the determination to persevere and do it. That's it for this week's podcast. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. And if you want to speak to us, you know where to find us at www.theminingcoach.com, and we're happy to help. Enjoy your mining. Cheers.